لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله ما لنا رب سوى لا إله إلا الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف وجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره. We've been studying verses 89 to 93 from chapter 2, Surah Baqarah. And Allama Tabatabai has a very beautiful discussion here about one of the hadith which has been mentioned here. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the verse 89, وَلَمَّا جَاءَهُمْ كِتَابٌ مِّنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ مُصَدِّقٌ لِمَا مَعَهُمْ وَكَانُوا مِنْ قَبْلِ يَسْتَفْتِحُونَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. There is a hadith about this وَكَانُوا مِنْ قَبْلِ يَسْتَفْتِحُونَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. In the past, they were themselves expecting the Prophet of Islam to come, and they were saying to the pagans and those who didn't believe that when he comes, we will become victorious. Okay, we will defeat you. يَسْتَفْتِحُونَ. Okay, there are some hadiths, but one particular hadith is from Durr al-Manthur, the second hadith from Durr al-Manthur in the book. Allama says, وَفِي الدُّرِّ الْمَنْثُورِ أيضاً أخرج أبو نعيم or Abu Nu'aym في الدلائل, that the tribes of Bani Qurayza and Bani Nazir من قبل كانت يهود بني قريظة والنظير من قبل أن يبعث محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم يستفتحون الله. They were asking Allah for victory. Okay, يستفتحون الله. What is the difference between Fath and Nasr? إنا فتحنا لك فتحا مبينا.
I think Nasr is just for wars, yes. But Fath is maybe in all situations.
In fact, it's after we fail.
After?
Fail.
Failure.
Failure?
Yes.
Why?
No, فتحنا لك فتحا مبينا is about the battle of.
So when you say someone is Fateh, means he was defeated before this?
No, Fath is more general than Nasr.
Maybe Fath is a result of Nasr. You are helping somebody.
إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح.
Maybe Fath means sometimes you occupy some places or some domination of religion or something like this. But Nasr at all, sometimes without any occupation, you achieve Nasr.
Maybe we can say like this, that Nasr is general, and it can be victory, it can be success, okay? But Fath seems to be used for circumstances when there was a kind of barrier. Assalamu alaikum. There was a kind of barrier. You know, for example, there were people who were blocking the way of Allah. يَصُدُّونَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. There were people who were not letting the message reach people. So Fath is victory with a kind of opening, removing the blockage. Okay? So maybe there was a blockage, there was a barrier. Either some people or a system was there and was not letting the message reach people.
It's like death and wrath.
If it is similar, yes.
Because of he's taking aware of barriers.
I think Nasr is general. They are not different. Nasr is more general. Fath is particular. It's a special type of Nasr.
In the same verse as you said, John Nasrullah al-Fath, so what's the
خاص عطف خاص بعد العام. ذكر الخاص بعد العام. So Nasr is more general. Fath is when you manage to defeat an enemy who is blocking you or blocking your message, does not let people receive the message. Okay? Like, you know, when they entered Mecca, the people who were there, they were stopping message of Islam reaching there, stopping Muslims to go and do tawaf and, you know, Hajj. So they were like a kind of barrier. That barrier is removed.
so Nas means any kind of help from Allah?
Help or success. Here means success.
Yes, and Fath is success.
Yeah. Okay, so كانوا يستفتحون الله. They were asking Allah to help them to destroy all the barriers and defeat these pagans. Okay? يدعون على الذين كفروا. They were praying against those who didn't have faith, infidels, a kind of cursing them. ويقولون. This is the sentence which is about Allama's discussion. Allahumma inna nastansiruka. Oh Allah, we ask you for victory, for success. بحق النبي الأمي إلا نصرتنا عليهم. So they were swearing by the Prophet. They were asking Allah, because of the Prophet, okay, give us this victory. بحق النبي الأمي. Okay? So, some people who don't accept this concept, because it's like a kind of tawassul. Allahumma bihaq nabiyyik, for example, we say, you know, give us this. So these people said, this hadith is not good. Some people rejected the hadith. They said this hadith has the problem in content, in addition to sometimes mentioning problem about the chain of narration. They said, شاذة المعنى بجعل الاستفتاح دعاء بشخص النبي. Or في بعض in some versions بحق النبي. And they said this is غير مشروع. So to explain that this is possible and this is legitimate, Allama has a beautiful discussion here. And basically his argument is why we use oath or, you know, vow, or, you know, we swear by something. Why we use qasam? What is the purpose? For example, I say, by my life, I saw, for example, Mr. Alawi. By my life, I saw Mr. Alawi. What does it mean? It means that if my life has any value, then I have seen him. If I haven't seen him and I say I have seen him, it means that my life has no value. Yeah? Or someone says, by my honor and dignity, I have seen him. Who says this? The one who has value for his honor and dignity and wants to say that I am putting my honor and dignity at risk if he is not seen by me. Is it clear? Or sometimes we bring, instead of a statement, we bring a kind of command. Say, by my life, please come to our house. Or please accept this gift from me. Okay, so sometimes we make a statement after that or make a command after that. It means that if you agree that my life has any value, so please accept this. So, in other words, we use qasam to emphasize. It's a very powerful, or according to Allama says, أعلى مراتب التأكيد في الكلام, is the highest level of emphasis when you say qasam. And Allama says, what you swear by must be more important than what you swear for. Yeah? I cannot say by, for example, by little money, for example, I am saying this. So that money has no value. There must be something which is valuable. So the more value that object has, the more emphasis you are putting on the point. So Allah says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sometimes swears by himself. For example, وَرَبِّكَ. Sometimes maybe he swears by his book, by angels, by Kaaba. He can swear by different things. Even sometimes Allah swears by his creatures. Wat-tin, wa-zaytun, wa-tura sinin. Tin means fig. Zaytun means olive. So there must be a very high value in fig and olive that Allah uses these two to swear by them. Why? Because these are creatures of Allah, these are signs of Allah, these show the beauty of the creation of Allah. Okay? So they are so important that Allah uses to swear by them. Okay? Now, Allah is an olive from Sham, because in Syria, Palestine, Israel, there are lots of olive trees. Okay? So Allah says an olive from that Sham, or a fig from Iraq, Iraqi fig. Are they that important that Allah can swear by them, but He cannot swear by the life of the Prophet? Of course He can. And this is why Allah in the Quran says, وَلَعَمْرُكَ. He Himself swears by the life of the Prophet. Okay, if He can swear by the life of the Prophet, we can also ask Allah, because of the life of the Prophet, to give us what we want. Okay? Then he asked, he makes a point here, that when we say because of the Prophet or because of the right of the Prophet, بحق النبي, he has a discussion here about haq. What does haq mean? Of course, one haq, sometimes haq means truth, sometimes haq means right. But from a Quranic perspective, these are very much connected. Okay? Haq in the sense of truth and reality, and haq in the sense of right. They are very much connected. Allah says, haq, which is opposite to batil, truth and falsity or falsehood. Haq is something which has reality. He says, إن الحق ويقابله الباطل هو الثابت الواقع في الخارج من حيث إنه كذلك. From that aspect which is real, because sometimes something, maybe it's a real, but from another aspect is batil. For example, if there is a bad practice in society, when there is, for example, slavery, is this a slavery haq or batil? in a sense it is haq. As a reality, it means that this is the case. This is happening. It's not a kind of false news. No, it's really there. But this is from that aspect. If your concern is only whether this exists or not, it is haq. But if your concern is whether this is appropriate or not, whether we have anything like some people having right to enslave other people, this is not right. So you understand? So Allah says, هو الثابت الواقع في الخارج من حيث إنه كذلك. He doesn't explain why, but this is what he means. Then he says, when we have rights, for example, we say rights of parents over children, or rights of, for example, the customer. If someone buys something, what are the rights of customers? This usage of right also is related, because this is something which is real. This is something which is real. And then Allah says, all the rights, all the huquq in this sense, must be according to Allah's will, according to Allah's legislation. Okay? You don't have any right over me unless it is endorsed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At least it is endorsed. Or maybe it's created. Sometimes it is given by Allah, sometimes it is endorsed by Allah. Okay? But do we have any right over Allah? This is the question. Do you know why he asked this question? Because when we say بِحَقِّ النَّبِي, it means that we are saying that he has some right over Allah. So we have to see, has anyone any right over Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? This was a debate among Muslim theologians.
Maybe he's right on people.
Of course, he has many rights over people. But when you say بِحَقِّ Nabi or بحق Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, it means that you are saying they have some right over Allah. So some people said no one has any right over Allah. Because how can you oblige Allah? How can you say to Allah that you owe this to me? You have to do this for me. Mu'tazilites have tried other ways, but Allah says we believe that no one has any right over Allah by himself. But there is no problem that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can fix some rights for you. He himself undertakes some action or some reward for you. Okay? So he says, if you do this salat, I will give you this reward. Then here you have right to claim. If you do this salat, then you can claim that I did this, so my right is to be given reward. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then he will reward you. He doesn't say, I don't reward you, because no one has any right over me. Yes, no one has any right over him, but if he has promised, okay, he could have said, just do this salat, I have created you, you have to do this salat, and I don't give you any reward. Or I don't say anything about reward. He could have said this. But he volunteered, okay, he volunteered and said, no, I will give you this reward. Like for example, you can say to your son, for example, give me a cup of water, bring me a cup of water. You can say, give me a cup of water and I give you, for example, $1. Okay? So if he gives you a cup of water, you have to give him $1. You cannot say, you are my son and you cannot demand anything, because you have told him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has himself volunteered, undertaken to give certain things to his servants. Okay? So because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given a special position to the Prophet. Okay? Not that the Prophet has obliged Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give him something, but because we know that Allah loves him and Allah has given him a special position. Especially, we know that Allah has given them the right for shafa'ah. I think one aspect of the right of the Prophet is right of shafa'ah. Okay? Because no one can do shafa'ah without Allah's permission. And Allah has given them permission. So they have this ability to do shafa'ah. So we say now, please, because of him and the right that you have given him, please give us our request. Okay? It's a kind of shafa'ah, and of course, I don't know whether you notice this point or not. What is the difference between tawassul and shafa'ah?
Shafa'ah is after action.
Shafa'ah is normally the action of the, for example, Prophet or Imam. They do shafa'ah, they intercede. Okay? Tawassul is that we ask them to do something for us, or we ask them to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or we ask Allah because of them give us something. There are three ways. As far as I could think, I found three ways. Sometimes you say to Prophet, please give me this hajjah. Okay? Of course, not independent from Allah, but depending on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sometimes I say, please, you ask Allah on my behalf. For example, when it's a matter of forgiveness, you can never ask the Prophet to forgive you. You can ask him to ask Allah. Istaghfara, istaghfaruk, wa istaghfar lahum ar-rasul. So they ask Allah, please forgive them. Or sometimes we ask Allah to forgive us because of them. So tawassul has three types. Okay? But in tawassul, nothing is happening in tawassul itself, not after tawassul. After tawassul, yes, but it's possible. But when you are doing tawassul, when you are appealing, when you are calling upon them, we don't know whether Prophet is doing anything or not. Yeah, because we are just requesting. Is it clear? So I ask him to do this, but maybe he doesn't do this. Or maybe he's doing this, but anyway, it's after tawassul. Tawassul is my action. Okay? Shafa'ah is their action. Okay? But even in tawassul, to be successful, we need their also involvement, either by themselves asking Allah, which becomes then shafa'ah. Okay? So it means tawassul is followed by shafa'ah. Or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because of them, gives us something. And in both cases, whether they get involved or Allah because of them grants me my request, there must be a kind of relation between me and them. I cannot be a person who doesn't follow them and doesn't love them and doesn't respect them and just say a few words and these words do magic. Whether you follow them or not, you say Bihaqqa Muhammad wa ala Muhammad and everything is sorted out. There must be a kind of relation. In the same way that they don't do shafa'ah for everyone. They do shafa'ah for some people. Okay? They don't do shafa'ah except for some people. In tawassul also, the shafa'ah which comes, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself gives you because of tawassul, they first check, are you related to these people? Do you have anything common with them or not? Okay, so this is very important, that whether it is tawassul or shafa'ah or mixture, there must be a similarity, a relation between you and those people. Okay? So, because of this similarity, then you can expect that, oh Allah, I have been following these people and I know you love them, so please give me my hajah. Because you have accepted this idea of shafa'ah, that when someone follows someone, then he can benefit from his shafa'ah. So this is the right that Allah has given to some people, and we can benefit from this. You can benefit from this. It's a very important, powerful way or means of reaching your expectations. Yes. Yeah.
The discussion about how.
Yeah.
Can we claim that we just have the rights over Allah which He promised us, whether it's punishment or it's reward? And if we can claim that every haq over Allah should be according to His promises, what we say about the intellectual kind of rights? Sometimes we claim that Allah should give us justice in this matter because He is just and is obliged over Him. Because we have in our intellectual discussions, Allah should do that or should not do that. What we say about this kind of rights is also the same.
You know, in the discussion about evil in the world, so I always say that the question is not that much Allah's justice. For example, if someone has no child and someone has few children, the one who has no child cannot say to Allah, you have not been just to me, because you have given him few children and you haven't given anything. This is not a matter of justice. Why? Because none of them has any right over Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If someone comes to this room and gives to one person $1,000, to another person $100, to another person $1, to another person nothing, the one who has not been given anything or has been given only $1 cannot say you are not just, you have been unjust. No. He said, this is my money, this is my will. I want to give someone more, someone less, someone nothing. What we can say is, okay, we don't have any problem with your justice because this is your money. Okay? But we ask about the wisdom. If you are a wise person, you don't give different amounts to people without having a good reason. Even when it's your money, but a wise person spends his money with wisdom. So, the one who has no child and the one who has many children, or the one whose children are healthy, another person's children are ill, they cannot question Allah's justice. But they can ask about the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Oh Allah, why in this world some people have many, some people have nothing, or some people have less? It's a matter of wisdom. And for us to understand the wisdom behind all this is impossible. Because the only one who can understand the wisdom is if he has the same amount of knowledge as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, we can try to understand, but unless you have the whole picture, you cannot understand the wisdom behind everything. If there is a painting, for example, 1 meter in 2 meters, and you close it, cover it by something, and just open for me 1 inch of that painting, then I see a black spot, for example, there. Oops, why this is just black? Why you have just made this black? Maybe if it was white was better, or if it was green was better. But when you remove the cover, I see, oh, that was the eye of some person. And if that eye was not black, that person was not able to see.
It was more beautiful.
Pardon?
More beautiful.
With black eye is more beautiful. So, to be able to understand the wisdom behind everything, you have to have the whole picture. Of course, if you have, for example, sometimes part of the picture, still you can understand. But you cannot understand completely unless you have the same view that Allah has. Okay?
I mean, do we have any kind of intellectual rights without respecting to the books and the promise of Allah which we have in Quran and the other books? Do we have any kind of intellectual rights over Allah?
Like what?
As I said, for example, not just in the issue of evil in the world. For example, you say Allah should be just. So if there is an injustice in the world, for example, Allah should not help injustice, for example, not according to our knowledge. I mean, generally, Allah should be a just ruler. Allah should be, for example, an existence who has perfection and helps his creatures, for example. So
We don't have directly any right over Allah, but because He Himself observes all the moral standards, so He doesn't do anything bad.
so
For example, He doesn't create and then leave us without guidance. أعطى كل شيء خلقه ثم هدى. But if He didn't want to guide us, we couldn't say, you have done zulm.
according to His perfection, can't we claim that it's a right over Allah to guide us?
No. If it is right, it's His right over Himself. I don't have right over Him. Yes, the only case of speaking about Allah's justice is if He punishes me for what I have not done. This is zulm. If He punishes me for something that I have not done, or doesn't reward me, that He has done a promise. He said, you do this, I reward you. This is zulm, and this is in the judgment. But in takween, there is no zulm, because we don't have any right over Him. Yeah, everything that we have is from Him.
So is this what theologians say, that this is wujub men, not wujub alay? This is the meaning of this phrase.
Yeah, so if there is anything that we say He must do it or He should do it, it's coming from Himself, either because of His essence or because of something that He has undertaken. Okay?
Not against them.
But not that we have something to claim and demand forcefully.
And, another question about the introduction, the relation you mentioned. There should be a relation between the person we are requesting his session. I mean, for example, in our worldly issues, sometimes we are going to a gay person, maybe we done some injustice towards him, and we swear him by his child. We don't have any relation with his child, but because and the child has a very great value for him, he helps us. And also we have in some narrations,
Good.
some people went to prophet and saw him by the child.
But yes, did you get his question? He says, you know, sometime maybe I don't have any relation, but I know that this person is loved by that person. For example, the king loves someone. So I ask that person to go and speak to king, or I say to the king, because of this person, you know, forgive me. So I want to bring, you know, a kind of tender and love and softness to the heart of the king. You know, we had this in the Shafa. Okay. Even in this case, you have to show at least that you have a good history with that person. You have been respecting him at least. You know, especially if that person is a person that is known to you. You know, if there's a person who is not known to me and it's not the beginning, I heard that he's this person who is loved by the king, and I say, okay, please, because of this person, okay, this is just the beginning of relation, and it's a positive relation, but this is the beginning. And for sure, this cannot solve many problems. This can have a little impact. But if you have a history with that person, for example, you say, I have always tried to live according to the standards taught to me by this person. Or he is my teacher, he is my father, he is my role model. Then you can convince the king. Okay? But if you have been always seeing this person and always showing no respect to him or fighting him, and now all of a sudden say, because of this, you know, give to me, this doesn't make sense. Yeah? So I cannot all my life claim to be a follower of the Prophet and contradict what he taught and then say, because of him, give me something.
Can't we claim just because we don't fight this person, for example, we don't fight this child and we were not against him. Can't we just claim that by him is happening?
Yeah, but to fight doesn't mean to fight him in a militant way. When the Prophet says, my ummah should not tell lies, and I tell lies. The Prophet says a Muslim is the one who cannot sleep when his neighbor is, you know, hungry. And I sleep very well, you know, when my neighbor is hungry. I don't feel anything bad. Indeed, even I don't know whether he's hungry or full. So, I am, in a sense, declaring a kind of war. Yeah? I'm not taking a sword, but in a sense, I am fighting Rasulullah, because I am saying, I don't want to live according to your standards, and I want to damage the reputation of Islam.
For example, someone comes from the other nation to
those people can get indeed sooner, because they don't claim anything. You know, if a non-Muslim says, oh Allah, because of Rasulullah, give me something, maybe he gets sooner. Indeed, this confirms my point. Because Allah said this person has not damaged any reputation of Rasulullah or Muslims. Yeah? He has always said, I am not a Muslim. And not just the fact that he has come to begin a relation. It is, you know, to begin the relation. He says, I love this man, you know. So Allah may give him. But a person who has been all his life a Muslim, or a person who has been Talabi, okay, and spending, you know, Imam al-Zaman's money, everything, respect coming from Imam al-Zaman, everything, then I cannot, you know, get that shafa unless I am really trying hard to be like them.
Can I have another question?
Sure.
About the issue of fig and olive,
Yeah.
and Allah swears by them.
Yeah.
Does it mean that and there are some criteria, and a special criteria for olive and tin, and olive and fig, or it's just an example from Allah's creation? Allah can swear by any of His creation.
Of course, all his creatures are important, but there must be a reason why these are mentioned. Why?
Like
Because Allah doesn't do anything without a reason. Okay? So there must be something here.
Maybe
I'm not saying what is there. I'm not saying, for example, these are the best fruits. Maybe they are the best fruits. Maybe they are, for example, heavenly fruits. Maybe there is something else that I don't know, but there must be a reason.
maybe it wasn't because of their importance. Maybe because in that time, in this kind of fruits were very important for the people at the time. Not because of their importance in themselves.
Maybe, I don't know, but there must be a reason. And we know that Allah doesn't mention anything without a reason.
Because they are expensive fruits.
Expensive, not necessarily for all parts of the world. Maybe in some, for example, where they grow these fruits, they're cheap.
Spain.
Even some people, say that if you eat fig and olive together, it's very healthy. If you can eat them together, I don't know, but there must be a reason, and maybe they have some also a spiritual impact in addition to something about physical health, because some foods have some also impact on our soul. Some of the food, for example, when you eat, then your soul is getting a little hard, yeah, but sometimes makes you soft. So there is a role for the food and also your spirituality.
Is it rationally acceptable for some foods to have an impact on the soul or not having?
Yes.
How we can explain it? So just some foods.
Because there is interaction between body and soul. So if you eat too much meat, for example, then for sure your heart gets a bit hard. Yeah. If you always eat meat too much, it's not good. Yes.
Question
Yes.
about the tawassul that you mentioned.
Very good.
3 types of tawassul, and this question sometimes annoy me when we go to visit a mom and pilgrimage. Sometimes I don't know. Now I should ask from Imam or ask Allah the Imam or Prophet. This is a good question. Which of these
You have 3 options. You can ask Imam, but you know that Imam is giving you according to Allah's will and blessing. You can ask Allah to give you because of Imam, or you can ask Imam to pray to Allah. All the 3 are possible.
Yes, all 3 in the same level or
This is difficult to answer.
So we can try one after another.
I think, yeah, it's good to have all of them. Sometimes, unfortunately, we use one method and we forget other methods. And this also creates misunderstanding for other people. For example, if they see that we say, oh Allah, because of this person give to me, then it removes some of the misunderstandings. It's better to have all the 3 methods, but all of them are working, and it sometimes maybe depends also on your feeling at that time. When you feel very close to Imam, you can ask Imam to pray for you, or you can ask Imam to give you. Yes. If you like, we can have a discussion on this. If you study this, and next week we can discuss it. Because was myself, concerned about this question, and this is why I came with these three methods. That tawassul is not only one method. Tawassul is at least three methods. But which one is more powerful, or which one is the one that we should encourage people to do more? This is something which is very difficult to answer. At least.
Which one is more emphasized on?
Yeah, this is very difficult for me to answer. Maybe if we put all our energy together and make some research, maybe next week, inshallah. Yes.
As I remember, in our dua, we don't have this kind of directly asking for our imams and prophets. Mostly, for example, dua has to say, اشفع لنا عند الله. And the other duas also. Can you bring an example that we directly asking imam in duas to them? Do we have such an example?
Because we have dua, we have ziyarah. These are different. In dua, we are addressing Allah.
In ziyarah, we don't have.
But in ziyarah, okay, we ask imam. It's possible to ask imam. Sometimes in ziyarah, we have also dua. For example, like ziyarah of Lady Ma'suma. We ask Lady Ma'suma, Ya Fatima tushfa'i li fil jannah. Sometimes also we say, Allahumma inni as'aluka an takhtima li bis sa'ada. So we have dua. So sometimes we address Allah. Sometimes we address the person that we are visiting. So most of our du'as, we are talking to Allah. Therefore, we don't ask the imam. But it doesn't mean that we cannot ask the imam. But to say which one is to be preferred, it is very difficult.
Problem is with even in ziyarat, we don't ask directly. As you said, ishfa'i lana fil jannah. We have or ishfa'i. We don't have some.
Yeah, but sometimes we ask them. Sometimes we ask them, for example, say, give me this.
We have in ziyarat.
Yeah. Sometimes we have that. We ask them to give us this. Most of the time, I think either we ask Allah or we ask Allah because of them. If you are after frequency. But if you are saying that we don't have any place that we ask the imam or the prophet directly, no. We have cases like this. So, which one is to be encouraged more? Can we generalize and give a rule? This is very difficult. Perhaps, as I said, it depends on the person, it depends on circumstances. Maybe also it depends on environment. If you live in an environment that there are non-Shia who may misunderstand you, okay? So it's better to use some methods more than the methods that can be misunderstood. Do you want to discuss this further? So if you study some books and think about it, I think this is a very important discussion. Everyone can do some research, and inshallah we put our ideas inshallah together, and we ask Allah to guide us because of Muhammad and Allah.
Guide us to one method.
But whatever, maybe indeed there is no answer. Maybe all the three are to be left to people's choice. Whatever you want, you can choose. Okay. So, Allah says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in the Quran, وَكَانَ حَقًّا عَلَيْنَا نُنْجِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. So, he says, إِنْجَاءُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ means saving believers is a right that Allah has fixed over Himself. وَكَانَ حَقًّا عَلَيْنَا نُنْجِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Is it clear? And also, وَلَقَدْ سَبَقَتْ كَلِمَتُنَا لِعِبَادِنَا الْمُرْسَلِينَ إِنَّهُمْ لَهُمُ الْمَنْصُورُونَ. وَإِنَّ جُنْدَنَا لَهُمُ الْغَالِبُونَ. Okay? Another term which is used for victory is غَلَبَ. What is the difference between Nasr and Fath and غَلَبَ?
Ghalaba is defeating, but Nasr maybe is not accompanied with defeating.
In Ghalaba, the emphasis is on having a counterpart that you defeat. In Fath, the emphasis is on the place that you are removing all the barriers from that place. You are freeing a place. Yeah? But in Ghalaba, the emphasis, the attention is more on overcoming some enemies. So these are different terms, but the emphasis is on different things. So Allah has Himself fixed a right for mu'mineen over Himself. Enja'ul mu'mineen. Nunjal mu'mineen is enja'ul mu'mineen, saving believers. And also victory for mursaleen. The messengers should be victorious. So, if this is the case, that Allah has given this right to mursaleen, or as I said, the right of shafa'ah. I don't know why Allah doesn't mention that right of shafa'ah also. So, what is the problem if we ask Him to give us something because of that right that He has fixed for mu'mineen, enja'ul mu'mineen, or for messengers, nasr, or shafa, as we said. لا مانع من إقسام الله تعالى بنبيه أو بحق نبيه وكذا إقسامه بأوليائه الطاهرين أو بحقهم. Allah has Himself fixed a right for him over Himself, so we can ask Him. نعم ليس على الله حق يثبت عليه غيره. No one can fix a right on Allah, oblige Allah that you must observe this right. فيكون محكوما بحكم غيره مقهورا بقهر سواه. Someone forces him, says you must observe this. No. Okay, you have question?
Yes, we have in the, one of the verses in chapter Surah Shu'ara, فَافْتَحْ بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَهُم, it's a word of Nuh alayhi salam. And according to what the meaning of the fact, how we can explain it? I think I have the word here. فَافْتَحْ بَيْنَهُم فَتْحًا وَنَجِّنِي وَمَن مَّعِيَ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. And it's not related to any places here, any place here. So you can say, for example,
because these are the people who are blocking the way. يَصُدُّونَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ.
There's somehow the meaning of Ghalabi here. It's not because there's no.
They are all related. Because when you are doing Fath, there is also Ghalaba. But the emphasis in Fath is removing and opening.
So
Fath comes from opening.
Can we say Nas is more general than Ghalabi, and Ghalabi is more general than Fath?
No.
Because every Fath is a kind of Ghalabi, and every Ghalabi is a kind of...
No, because sometimes Fath maybe there is not. For example, maybe Rasulullah, he had Fath in Mecca, but not Ghalaba, because there was no fight. Can we say there was Ghalaba? No, because they didn't fight. You know, when they give in, when they surrender, so it's not Ghalaba, it's Fath.
Why you say that it's not a Ghalaba?
Because Ghalaba brings to the mind the idea of two parties fighting, and then one of them can overcome and defeat the other one. Yeah? If you are, for example, speaking to people and convince them and change them, we can say this is great fath. إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا. Okay, but can we say إذا جاء نصر الله والغلبة? Ghalaba was only for few fights and battles, but this is fath, that people come to Islam by themselves. So fath doesn't need to have always fighting. Sometimes fath comes when you manage to win the heart of people.
In fact, here means divorcement, yes? Fath bayni wa bayni.
So this fath is with ghalaba in the sense that remove this blockage, because these are the people that they don't let anyone to become, for example, a believer. So because it has mentioned bayni wa baynahum, so it comes close to the meaning of ghalaba.
And maybe it means reconciliation between
No.
Prophet and...
No, it doesn't mean reconcile.
Because it says bayni wa baynakum.
Yeah, but not in the sense that we come together.
For example, we have one of the verses, قُلِ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا سَتُغْلَبُونَ وَتُحْشَرُونَ إِلَى جَهَنَّمَ بِئْسَ الْمَهَادُ. I don't think it's about a fight.
Yeah, تغلبون, you will be defeated.
It should be a fight exactly, or just maybe.
So perhaps it means that in dunya you will be defeated, and in akhirah you will be resurrected for punishment. ستغلبون in dunya وتحشرون in the day after.
Just the resurrection.
خسر الدنيا والآخرة.
Just the resurrection and the punishment of akhirah doesn't mean ghalaba.
No. It's not common to say akhirah is ghalaba, because no one can fight Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment. Yeah?
Yes, if we have the meaning of fight and ghalaba.
Ghalaba is used to dunya normally. In akhirah, who is there to stand, against Allah, say, I want to fight. Okay. So this part is, alhamdulillah, finished. Yeah.
Regarding the point you mentioned about the justice of God and the miserable things that we have in the world, and we cannot consider it
Injustice.
yes, but it should be considered by the wisdom of Allah. Nowadays, for example, we see many people talk about the portion of the society in the crime. For example, they say we should blame some portion of the crime, on the society, and the condition that the criminal was in. I think the case differs from the example that you mentioned. Someone enters the room and gives one person 1,000 and the other 2,000 and the others nothing. All the existence that we have is because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we have all the thing, because of him. So it's not an extra thing to be added to us, and we consider as a favor. That's I think it's when God, for example, creates us in this situation. For example, I'm a poor person, or I'm a sick person. From since I was born, this situation makes me in trouble. It's not. I cannot say that, for example, this is what exactly. I think this is a reasonable thing to say. For example, society can take some responsibilities, and we can say the same thing about God. He is the one who created the situation, and I think it's concerned with the justice. It's not all about the wisdom of Allah.
Why? If someone is born blind, can we say, oh Allah, you have not been just to him? Allah says, why I should give everyone, for example, eyes?
I think, but we can say another thing. We can say God should expect from him less.
Okay, he says, I expect less.
Not in the sense he uses his eyes. No, for example.
Yeah, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا ما آتاها. I expect from you less.
No, for
No
example,
problem.
If a blind person, for example, gives charity,
Yeah.
okay, it must be given more rewards to him.
Yes. No problem.
So this is a matter of justice. It's concerned with justice.
So that is another issue. That is the next issue. That now justice requires to take into account the difficulties that they have. But why he has become a blind person, this is not the issue of justice and injustice.
So it's not just about reward. You said because just a punishment can be related to the
Reward and punishment. Reward and punishment is related to his justice because he has fixed this. But what he has given us or he hasn't given us, it's not a matter of justice because we don't have anything to claim.
But this is us who suffer,
Yeah. Even if you suffer, you don't have right to claim. Yes. We know that he is very kind, he is very merciful. So for those who suffer, Allah has lots of reward, lots of support, lots of love. We know that he does this. But I cannot demand. This is his love and generosity. For example, if we have a very nice person that helps all the poor of the town. He loves them, he helps them. Then the poor people cannot take him to the court and say, why you didn't, support us today? You were supporting us every day. Today you didn't support us, we take you to the court. You are zalim. No. No one can take him to the court. He says, I have been doing this voluntarily. And today for some reason, which you can ask me, what was the reason? What was the wisdom? For some reason today I didn't want to give. Maybe I wanted to see, are you grateful or not? Every day I supported you. Today I didn't support you to see who is grateful. Okay? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has many points, many things in his way of running this world that we don't understand. When you are, for example, in the Hose with tens of thousands of students, every student cannot expect that I should understand everything about the Hose. For example, they say this decision is made today by the board of, for example, directors of Hose. They have responsibility for all Hose. They have lots of information, lots of problems. They know many things. And this single talaba says, what they do is wrong. Okay? You cannot say it's wrong. You cannot say, I don't say my salat behind you because, you did this zulm. You don't have enough information. If you had enough information, maybe, in this case, because they are human beings, they are fallible, maybe you would be able to understand that they did correct judgment or false judgment. In the case of Allah, always we know that he makes correct judgment, but we don't have enough information. In other words, every person, if he has the same amount of knowledge that Allah has and the same amount of goodness that Allah has, would make the same judgment as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah? Our problem is that we don't have that amount of knowledge or that amount of goodness. Yes.
Another question I don't
Yes.
know if it's relevant to this topic. It's sort of, God says, for example, I'm Razzaq and it's upon me to give you rest. But we see not many people who are dying from hunger.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is not a contradiction with the words.
No.
It's a blockage of some others.
He has.
Every entity, this is the word of God.
Not through causality.
The
Allah
rest,
doesn't through
the
causality.
rest of every entity is upon me. Okay? He
But
didn't-
through causality.
He didn't say on condition that no one blocks that. This is mutlaq. You cannot put condition on it. And this is my understanding of this view.
Okay, first of all, he himself has undertaken this. And min dabbatin illa ala Allah rizquha ala Allah, he himself has accepted this. Okay? This is the first point. Second, if there is need for rizq, it cannot be understood according to cases one by one. Allah has created this world, and in this world has given enough sustenance. Like for example, I invite 1,000 people and I say in that room there are also 1,000 meals of food. But be careful, don't waste. Not some people take 10, another person nothing. 1,000 people, 1,000 meals. Or indeed 1,000 people, 2,000 meals. We have even extra. But then some people waste, some people take more, some people don't let other people to take. So this is the problem with people. He has provided enough rizq for everyone. But he doesn't force the rizq to come to every person's mouth. Sometimes you have rizq but you don't work. Or someone doesn't let the rizq come to you. So when he says that he has provided us with rizq, means he has created a system in which all the members of the system have their rizq. They have to work hard. They have to have just system for distribution. Those who are rich should help the poor people. Those who cannot, for example, work should be helped by the people who can work harder. These are all also part of the regulations.
I heard that some mystics believe that if, for example, you sit down, do nothing, but just believe in this verse wholeheartedly, okay, you will survive. Now, do you believe in such
No.
approach?
If you don't do anything, so if I sit and I don't do anything and don't work, don't even ask for help, so there is a chance that maybe I die out of hunger.
But we have some stories, narrations, for example.
No, those are for the people who struggle but they don't find food. You do your best, then you do tawakkul. Not that you don't work and do tawakkul.
It's against the story of infallible.
Pardon?
It's against the
Wisdom of Allah.
wisdom, also the life story of Imam.
Yes. Our Imams used to work. Rasulullah used to be doing trade and business, Even Imam Ali used to sometimes work for other people. He was hired by people, making gardens, digging wells. This is not possible.
This is, they say, I'm not ascribing this to all of them, but some of them, they say those conducts were for ordinary people, and there is a special way for example, to reach God. And that's why, for example, Imam Ali himself asked people not to do the same actions that he performs, for example, lots of praying and fasting and eating so less.
Not because they could do. He said, أنكم لا تقدرون على ذلك لكن أعينوني بورع واجتهاد وعفة وسد. You cannot work like him, but you have to do as much you can. Not that you can say, I cannot work like him, so I do nothing. Yeah? We have to do our best. If you really do your best, then Allah says, okay, my servant has done his best. Now it is my role to help him. Yeah? But if I am lazy, if I'm not doing anything, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala maybe helps me once, twice, but if he helps me all the time, then I become spoiled and other people become spoiled. You know, sometimes Allah has so many times helped us that unfortunately we are now thinking that, you know, we are a special people and Allah must always help us, you know, we don't need them to plan, we don't need, you know, to work hard because we have Allah. Yes, we have Allah, but Allah wants you to work, to plan. Yes.
A point among some people is that because Allah, everything Allah gives is a kind of mercy. So taking it back, taking them back is not a problem for Allah. We cannot claim why Allah took back what He gave.
Yeah.
But then another point of view, maybe another aspect, I think, maybe it's not. It's against the Islamic culture we have. For example, giving something as a mercy is different from taking away something that thing. For example, when you give someone a gift, you cannot have any expectation from you to give him a gift. But if you want to take the gift back, maybe we have some orders, don't do that, you don't have right to take your gift back.
So, yes. So it's not a matter of right. It's a matter of etiquette. Yeah, for example, even maybe I haven't given you, you have just borrowed. So for example, you have borrowed my pen. It's better I don't say, you know, give me back. I wait for you to give it back. You have borrowed, I haven't given you, but still, it's better I keep waiting till you bring it back. But sometimes there are other reasons. I want to give it to someone else, for example. So I say, you know, please give me the pen back, I want to give someone else. Or maybe I'm seeing that you are not using this pen properly. You are wasting it. Or maybe I see that as long as you have my pen, you don't then buy your own pen. I want you to have a pen. You know, like some people who live in accommodation given, for example, by some organizations, then they never buy a house. So this is not good, because if they were, you know, in need of renting, then they were encouraged to do something, maybe to buy a house. I'm not saying all the time, but I'm saying sometimes. So the person who gives something normally doesn't take it back as a matter of etiquette, not right, but sometimes there are overriding factors. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the same. He says, ذَلِكَ بَأَنَّ اللَّهَ لَمْ يَكُنْ مُغَيِّرًا نِعْمَةً أَنْعَمَهَا عَلَىٰ قَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Normally he doesn't get back. But if you change, then Allah may get back.
What we don't say is against morality. We say you don't have right to take back your gift. When you give someone a gift and he owned it, you don't have right, according to Islamic law, to take back your gift.
In the case of Allah and people is different. You know, if I give something and becomes your property, then I don't have any right over it. But when Allah gives us something, it never goes out of His possession. Indeed, it is still His. When Allah gives me a child, I cannot say, oh Allah, this is my property, not your property. So you cannot take it back from me because it's now my property. No. Still it is His property in a real sense. And I am just a person who has been given this trust, this amana. It's a trust. It's different from my relation and you. When I give something to you and becomes your property.